What's up, peeps? It's been a long ass time since I posted a real video, me talking, not the fast forward ones. Um, it's finally snowing in Montana, which is badass. It's been pretty weird this winter. It's 50s up until last week, and now I think it is 14, snowing. Perfect time to do a video. Been working on, anybody that follows me on Instagram know I've been working on some new Beetles and basically just taking a Hippy Stomper like style and just pimping it out a little bit more. This one's green, but we are going to do a red and black one because let's face it, that color in the summer is pretty dope. This is fairly easy. I'm not gonna say it's super easy. I don't know. I think it's easy. So we're gonna do this. We'll start in a size 12. Kamado hook K2312. Vivas thread, 8/0 red, and you're gonna need some black foam for this one, 2 millimeter. This is for the butt. And then cut a sliver of red. I would want this in 1 mil, but I don't have this in 1 mil red, so that's 2 mil. So I just have to pull that a little bit tighter. You'll see that when we get to that. And I'll go through the rest of the materials as we go. So let's start this sucker. Hope everybody had a great holiday. This was a very strange year for me. My parents were down in Colorado Springs seeing my sister, which is awesome. But when you're just kind of hanging out by yourself, I got my kids on Christmas Day, which was really awesome. But it was just kind of strange year. But looking forward to what 2025 has to offer. So we'll get this down. We'll create the egg sac kind of in the back. Take your resin, whatever you use. If you don't have resin, just overbuild that. It's not even an egg sac. It's just more of a hot spot looking thing for an attractor. We'll just get really cocky with it here. And I put a shit ton on there. It came out real quick. I wasn't ready. My buddy Shay Gunkel, I saw him doing this with his Fat Albert pattern. So I stole the idea of this type of fly anyways. We've all seen these on every stonefly pattern pretty much ever tied. But it is a good attractor, especially for a Beetle-like pattern. So we'll start in the back. Got some fuzzy thread for some fucking reason. All right. So we'll take our 2 mil foam. I cut mine with the wing cutter. You can cut this if you want. I think you could probably do the same damn thing. I just find it easier to use the cutters. I have found a lot of uses for this, just the wing cutter itself. A lot of uses for bugs other than the wing. Like in this case, it'll be the shell of the beetle, if that's what we want to call it. You decide. I just work here. Okay, get that sucker tied in. Take your little strip of red, or whatever color you're doing. This is just the color we're doing. Or that I'm doing. You want to cut an angle on it like that, because as you come down the fly, tying this in, cutting an angle on there will give you a better taper out, so you don't have like a giant ball up of shit. See, you just kind of go into nothing. If you didn't cut that, you'd have a weird end if you left it square. Get that all tied in, nice and tight. Make sure you're where do you want to be. All right. So this is when I tie in midge body thread. You're using dark gray. I am. I mean, you can use all sorts of colors. I have it in orange, crystal, green, bronze, purple. I just like it for this color that I'm doing here. The orange one, I use the orange, but all right, so we'll get that tied in. That'll come in last. So I use Acrylex for the body here because it gives off, once we hit it with the resin, it really gives off a nice shine. Ah, you sucker. I was gonna pull that through, but it didn't work. So we'll get that tied in, and we're gonna go about quarter away from the eye of the hook. So get the Acrylex, get out of the way, midge. Start all the way in the back. And then wrap forward. If you don't want it to thin out, you can build up your body more with this Acrylex because we're going to hit it with the resin anyway, so it's going to sturdy it up. That cut. Pull your red through, red foam. I always go right over the top. I take a look at the bottom because I want it the same on either side of that body. Pull down with your thread, just pop that right off. No need for scissors. Okay, same thing with the black. I pull it over, make sure I'm the same on all sides. Press down with my finger to make it tight. And you have a nice little body right there. Okay, so the midge threads start as far back as you can without it sliding down. You actually want to do this fairly tight because the reason I do this is it gives that black foam a little bit of segments, making it look a little buggier. Just 4 or 5 wraps over the whole body. Cut and discard. Boom. So now is when I add resin to the body. Now would be a good time to do it before we get all the rest of the stuff on here. Give her a good old 10 count. And we got a nice glistening underbody. You don't necessarily have to do that. Acrylex is awesome material, but it too will break if the fish are eating the piss out of it. So I just use that stuff more as a security blanket. But so go right behind the eye. We're going to tie that foam off and wrap down the excess over the thorax. Alrighty. Okay, so this one you can pick and choose whatever wing you want to use. Widow's web, whatever. Gosh dang it, I'm kind of blanking on what this stuff's called. My buddy Alec got me to start using this stuff. It's just like the rest of it. It's just got cooler colors. So tie down. And we're going to go forward just a little bit here to really secure this wing in, and it'll help not build this up funky in there. I tend to leave my wings long because I like to have something to grab onto. We'll cut that later. All right. Pick whatever legs you want. I use Sexy Floss for about 950% of everything that I do. I really like Sexy Floss for the most part. Sometimes it comes out a little funky. You gotta weasel your way through the bullshit. Some of them have really bad strings on them. Make sure that you don't have a clean one before, you might want to strip all that beforehand. Because once you get the legs tied in and you decide that you want to pull the little strings off, the whole thing just balls up, and then you're anything like me, it pisses you off. Ah. All right. Whatever color, whatever suits your fancy for this part. I'm using a dark brown grizzly hackle for the head. We will trim the bottom of this hackle. I don't show that in my fast forward video, but beetles do ride lower in the water, so you don't want them floating too high up. I didn't show that in the video, but after I'm done with it, you'll see it. So with this red underbody, we're gonna make this kind of Christmassy. Use some peacock hares ice dub for what we would consider the thorax. Cool thing about this fly, I mean, there's shit ton of color options for you. And you kind of just stick to what works on chubbies, the Hippy Stomper, that type of stuff. Anytime I'm trying to come up with something new, I realize this is kind of a spin-off of the Hippy Stomper. I get it. But anytime I'm doing that, I kind of try to use the colors that work on everything. Legs up. If you leave the legs in a bow like this, it makes it a whole hell of a lot easier to work around. Oh, you dirty dog. And after I get my wrap in, I pull my hackle tight, so you know it's nice and secure. Okay, almost done. See, super easy. Getting a bunch of beetles tied from my buddy down in Pinedale, Eric Oram, and Liam, and Connor. You get a lot of beetles down there. Two Rivers. You guys end up down at Jackson Hole at all or close to it, or in Pinedale, look these guys up. Phenomenal people and even better guides. So when I go to cut this wing to keep everything consistent, I always pick a spot. So the back of my egg sac is where I'm going to match the top of this wing, and I will do that with every one of them. Oh, every one of them. And so that way, every single one that I tie is the exact same. Look at that. I didn't even need my glasses on that one. So there you go. Super simple. Oh. So when I cut the bottom of this hackle off, I press down literally on like the dubbing I put down. There. So now this will ride a lot better in the water, exactly how we would want it for a Beetle. Lower. You can cut your legs however long you want or however short you want, doesn't matter. Hope you guys had an awesome holiday. And here's the 2025. Peace. Be good to each other.